Hey everyone, welcome back to the Crazy Crafter. Welcome to our Sunday live stream. Very excited to be back here today with Nat1 Videos. And we have a special guest today. Lucas Upright is joining us from the Facebook Tabletop Crafters Guild. Chris Fort might be joining us a little bit later, so we'll see when he pops into the live stream. He'll make his fashionable entrance a little bit later. But for right now, Lucas, welcome to the live stream, man. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Michael, how you doing over there?
Doing good. Glad to
Good,
be
man.
here. Open a beer.
Awesome. Yeah, you've got a beer. It's what a lovely time. What a lovely time difference. You've got beer. Are we? Lucas and I think are drinking coffee. Are we? Are you
Yeah.
got coffee right there? Yeah, that's what I
Oh,
got.
yeah.
Maybe I'm gonna have to have I'm gonna have to throw some Baileys in this one of these beers. Have an Irish coffee with you. Can't let you drink alone.
End of the day. Over here.
Oh my goodness. Well, today's live stream is focusing on scatter terrain. Something that I'm super excited always to build. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like out of all the things I was thinking about, what do I utilize most on a weekly basis? So, or on a weekly basis, but like when we were playing in person, what what do I throw on the table more than anything? And for me, it
Right.
was scattered terrain. I felt like, as a new crafter, I've only been doing this for about a year now. That's been kind of the go-to for me. So I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts. Like, is scattered terrain like one of the most utilized components of your gameplay? Lucas, when you guys are playing in person, so Lucas has the upper benefit. You were telling me you were playing with your family, so you still get to utilize all of your awesome terrain right
Yes.
now in
Yeah.
our current pandemic state. So,
Yeah.
do you find yourself building scatter terrain more than anything else?
Uh, when I first started, I started with the whole tile business and doing the modular dungeon tiles. Uh, but when I got back into D&D, it was through Adventurers League at my local game shop.
Oh, nice.
Uh, yeah, and so with Adventurers League, you really don't have a lot of time to build set pieces. You prep for the week, and you really need scatter terrain because that is
Mm,
the only way to get 3D terrain down quickly on a map and not utilize too much time, and still give the players that sense of immersion, that sense of 3D terrain, to give them an idea of what you're trying to describe to them. And so it's been essential for me to build scatter terrain.
mm,
I mean, I do build set pieces,
sure.
but the majority of my crafting time is all scatter terrain.
Mm. Yeah, that's I feel like that's the gateway build is the dungeon tiles.
Yeah.
Like everyone starts with the dungeon tiles. I've got mine here, so these are mine that I built way back when. Instead of throwing a stone on it, I made it kind of like like a almost like a limestone or a sandstone. And then on the back, so my nephew was staying with me when I first started crafting, and on the back side, he took several of the tiles and turned them into double sided, so they're wood floor tiles on the back. So they're pretty cool. Yeah, the so for you, Michael, what about you? Have you it's well, you just got into playing really in during quarantine, right?
Uh, no, not into the crafting side of D&D. D&D I've been playing for 2 years.
Okay.
And yeah, in quarantine, all of that free time came into play. And then I tried one thing off Black Magic Craft.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, blah!
Yeah.
I literally went crazy with it and haven't stopped. I mean, I must be doing something every day now.
Yeah, it's definitely addicting, and I think you hit upon something there, Lucas, when it came to the terrain, like, and this is something too. You mentioned it when you found the craft or found the hobby that you can build. It's a 3D element that it's added to the game. It's just another element that's added there into the game. So I think that's a huge part of it all, and I think it's extremely it adds a huge element to any gameplay when I add it down. So and yes, you're totally right. Like I got your message here in the like the this is a new setup this morning, Michael and Lucas. Like I'm just now realizing that I'm like, check this out. You can't see me because I've muted my video, so it's over on the right. So I'm gonna have to do my best to articulate what I was talking about there, or you'll have to pull up the stream on your phone and like turn the volume down and see it. I'm so sorry. So
no, that's exactly what I did. I pulled it up. I've got it on my other monitor here. And now I can see.
Okay, cool. So I don't know if you can yeah, it's a new setup that we're trying here, but this is awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, Daniel West is in the chat. Amy Brood is in the chat. Good morning, good morning, everyone. Let us know in the comments here and in the chat, what do you think of our new stream setup? This stream setup is brought to you by the talents and the amazing generosity and gratitude of Daniel West, who helped me set all this up, and it looks glorious and it sounds glorious. With the exception that I've forgotten that you guys can't see me right now, but that's cool. All right, well, Lucas, what do you want to share? I want to see some of your terrain. I've got a bunch of stuff over here to share with everyone later, but you are the feature today, and I want to see your awesome terrain. You posted something this last week in the Tabletop Crafters Guild, and it was a bunch of scatter terrain.
Yeah.
Do you have any of those pieces lying around you can bring up and talk to us about?
Unfortunately, I don't. They're all in the other room.
Okay.
But yeah, so that was about a month of crafting, all thrown down on the board at once.
Dude, it was a massive build. Like, describe what you'd built. What did you build during that month?
So a lot of trees. Built. I started experimenting with a Carton clay, which is a air dry clay that I make. And a lot of the scatter terrain on that map was air dry clay. The rocks, the rock formations, all the bases of the trees were all done with the air dry clay. There was I wanted to have sort of like a woodsman's area, and so that's where I created like the cut down trees and the axe stump with the chopped down wood, and then I just kind of started experimenting with the air dry clay, and I created that little skull and created some more scatter terrain with just smaller pieces.
Yeah,
nice. So it's one of those projects where you start playing with it and you start getting that creative juice going, and you're like, well, what else can I do with it? And then you start getting a little out of control because it's like, okay, gotta stop starting projects and start finishing projects.
It's easy to do. That happens all the time. Like, or at least it does with me, where I'll start something and then, it gets put away, or you start something else. I try now, whenever I'm working on a project, to just focus on one that build, whatever that build is, because it's easy to get sidetracked. Lucas was talking about his big builds this week. He built, how many pieces would you say that was in that build?
Oh, geez. Maybe 40 pieces.
Yeah, it was a big build, everyone. It's pretty cool. Everything from, it's the type of build where I go, oh man, like that is an extremely, useful build because it wasn't just one piece of scatter, one type. It was everything from tiny little rocks that you had constructed to the trees to larger stone structures to larger other scattertree foliage. I was like, man, that is an ambitious build with a lot of scatter where, but a time well spent because
Yeah.
again, you can never have enough scatter terrain.
And
Yeah.
then the map was also something I made following the terrain tutor,
Oh,
doing the whole
nice.
acrylic on the cloth mat.
Oh, cool. That's
Yeah,
I. You're gonna have to share that one with me. I haven't seen that one, Lucas. I haven't seen that tutorial. You're gonna have to share that one with me. Um,
sure, absolutely.
send me that link. Um, Michael has a cool video on his channel. He painted a battle mat up as well, and it turned out really nice for his tabletop. You'll have to check that out. We'll link that up in the description after we get the recording up. But it's a really cool one too. This is um this is the build that I was working on this week. I was kind of sharing this with Lucas and Michael a little bit beforehand. You might recognize a technique on here, Michael. Well, you could if you could see it. I keep forgetting you can't see me. But it's the branch, the branch from your build this week. Was pretty awesome. It's definitely it turned out good. The branch, I assure you, it looks pretty good. But this is the build this week, everyone. For me, for scatter terrain was took an old toilet paper roll, some hot glue, all the hot glue. Again, I'm like out of hot glue now, guys. Like I need to stop utilizing it to texture and use it for my builds because I am out of it. Some aluminum foil, and then right now it's got it's been base coated with Mod Podge, another darker brown, but I'm thinking about throwing a wash on it here in a little bit. So that might be what I work on here in a little bit. Let's see. What else we got? Yeah, that's a good point. Um, my my producer here is saying, if I wonder if I can drop it in the link to your build on the chat. Now, if we link something from the Facebook page to the group, will they be able to see it?
Only if they're part of
Only the part
the
of the guild members.
yeah,
So
right.
therein lies that. There you go. There you go. There you go, producer. Therein lies the quandary. How do we? Is there a way we can share it with them right now? I'm gonna think about it. You think about it too, and we'll figure it out. But right now, this this particular setup. What are you working on right now, Michael?
Oh, just because you said it was scatter terrain today, I'm literally going to do a bit of scatter terrain.
All right, you're building some scatter there. So, what are you building specifically?
Well, so I did, the way I did the string trees video the other day, and I specifically am not doing that. I'm actually just going to glue together a bunch of twigs and make some trees. I've not done this before,
Oh,
so
Yeah,
gonna give it a try.
yeah,
nice, nice. That's gonna
yeah.
look cool.
The scatter terrain that I had on my map was all natural material. The trunks or the branches are all from a large honeysuckle tree that I have next to me.
Oh, nice.
And it's amazing. It's a humongous tree. I kid you not, it's about 30 to 40 feet tall.
Ooh.
And it has branches that grow from a quarter-inch in diameter up to 3/4 of an inch in diameter.
Hmm.
Um, Chopping that down, I'm actually have so much of it now that I was planning on building like sort of like a modular wooden fort
Oh,
with the
wow.
pieces. Yeah, so that's the next project coming up. Uh, but it makes absolutely fantastic trees. All of the
Hmm.
pieces on that image were all from that tree, and then the canopy was done with reindeer moss glued onto that wood frame, um, and then spray glue and flocked.
Nice.
Makes for a real simple tree. Not a lot of materials, not a complicated process,
It
and they look
looks
fantastic.
they look great. It's, you know, I think that's probably the thing that, you know, I've had the hardest time learning in this hobby, Lucas, is it doesn't have to be a complicated solution. You can have a simple solution where you but you can yield a really special result. And that's what I liked about um, those pieces of scatter you shared. Um, your rocks that you built, and like
Yes.
they're kind of they looked unique to me in the sense that I was trying to figure out how you textured them. I'm gonna
Yeah.
try to take a guess first before you tell
Sure.
me. So
Absolutely.
so it looked like maybe cardboard that you had stacked and then filled in with like a joint compound and then textured. Um, that was my initial thought. Am I wrong? I might be wrong.
Uh, you started out great. Yes,
Okay.
it is stacked cardboard.
Okay. Cool.
Just I cut out a bunch of different shapes and sizes, stacked it all up together,
Nice.
and it's actually I didn't even need to texture it. It's coated in that egg carton clay that I've built.
Oh. So it's that is this egg carton clay? You said is this a new material you've been recently found that you've been messing around with, or have you been
Yeah.
using this for a while?
No, I just recently started using it. I wanted to have some kind of material that I could sculpt.
Mm.
Didn't want to have to spend the money on clay, getting
Hmm.
actual air dry clay. Although it's not expensive, it is another expense that um, I would rather try and use household materials.
Sure.
Many of my builds, um, the only purchased part of it is the paint. I
Mm.
try to use recycled materials. I try to use natural materials wherever possible, simply because I don't want to have to create and purchase and spend money to create something.
Mm.
Um, and so I started looking for options for a sculptable clay. Uh, got into the whole tissue paper, glue, and paper mache, and I just happened to stumble upon a another channel, and she made her own air dry clay. And she's a very talented sculptor, and she had mentioned something about converting egg cartons. So I researched it a little bit, and I found it a very easy process. It's
Oh,
just
nice.
basically, yeah. So it's basically taking egg cartons, breaking it up, putting it in a bowl of water, warm water, for 48 hours, blending it into a pulp,
Okay.
straining the water, and then just adding PVA glue.
Wow.
Yeah. Uh,
Wow.
the only complicated part was getting the amounts of glue needed to make it uh, malleable and not dry out too quickly.
Oh,
Uh,
that's
yeah, so
how
I was able to.
how did you did it work the first time you tried it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Although the first batch I did, I put a little bit too much glue, and it would not allow me to, and I didn't pulp it enough.
Mm,
And so it came out really rough. I couldn't get it to smooth out to a thinner layer.
I see.
And the next batch I made, I pulped it a little bit more, left a little bit of the moisture in there, added less glue, and it worked out perfectly. And I have a feeling that the egg carton, because it's that compressed uh, chipboard or cardboard,
Yeah.
there's already an adhesive in there that gets released
Oh.
with the water when you pulp it.
Oh.
But
Oh.
and so I went from the egg carton, uh, creating this sculpting clay, and that's what all the rocks are. They're coated in that that sculpting clay. So the first one I made, you'll notice on the map, I'm not sure if you can find it, but it's more of a blob.
Yeah.
It's only got maybe one or two curves. It didn't actually follow the contours of the corrugated. Where the later models, you can see it's thinner and it actually follows the corrugated a little bit better.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I also made on that map um, a little skull, like a little
Oh yeah,
dragon
I
skull, a
saw
large
that.
mammal
It
skull.
was that one was it was up in the corner there. I remember that.
Yeah.
You how did you make the dragon skull?
Same way. I
Same way.
started experimenting. It was like, well, how fine can I craft this clay now that I have this very easy resource? What else could I do with it?
Mm,
How fine can I get it? How much can I carve it? What's the detail that I can get into it?
I see.
And so that skull was my first attempt at that.
Okay.
And it came out really well. I was very impressed at how much I was able uh, to work with the clay, and just learning the timing of what I can do at different dry times, and you know how hard it would get,
Right.
how fragile it might be,
Mm.
and I was shocked how durable it is. Once you get that Mod Podge on there, it's almost
It's solid.
indestructible.
Yeah, like that's a big it's a big deal. Like the creating a sound seal for your builds that lasts and that's going to protect them. Right?
Yeah,
You know, I'm like gathering all my scatter terrain over here and like trying to rush getting ready for the live stream this morning. And I'm
yeah,
dropping it and I'm like, oh man, it's a good
yeah,
thing that's kind of sealed properly.
yeah,
Because otherwise I'd be worried about that denting. But
yeah.
you know, finding it's amazing how much just a little bit of that, you know, finding that right balance to create that strength and durability that'll, you know, make the piece last for a
Sure.
long time.
Yeah, because I mean, we all know XPS foam is great to work with, but durability wise, you really have to be careful with it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Um, I'm gonna take a little bit right now. You guys can't see it, but I'm showing everyone else. I'm taking a little bit of you know, homemade black wash, a la Jeremy from Black Magic Craft, of course. And then I'm gonna try. I don't know how this is gonna work out, but I'm gonna try a little bit of wash on this tree here this morning and see how that goes. So I'm gonna start painting that up a little bit here. See if that can get a little bit more definition into it.
Are you going to build something on stream, Lucas, or are you just here? You're just going to have a chat as well?
I was just chatting. Actually, I was talking with Colin earlier. I had prepared a bunch of pictures
Yeah,
of the whole process.
he's got the whole pictures and the process to like break. He had like visual aids, and I didn't know that he was gonna do that. And this was a wild setup. He's got like all these amazing pictures, which I'm gonna try to find a way to like get to you guys, so you guys at some point they can check it out, because you know you've documented your process extremely well, Luke. Like I love all the pictures that you've taken along the way.
Thank you, thank you. Actually, I was just thinking about that. I could share the Google Drive that I have those pictures on.
Oh, that would be awesome. If there's a way to throw that up in the chat, Lucas,
Sure.
just put it
Uh,
up in the chat for everyone so they can check them out. And
okay.
then once you guys get them there in the chat, check out the drive, and then if there's anything in particular you want Lucas to chat a little bit more about, then we can do that. Um, that's gonna be super easy. That'll be great because then I can check it out too, and then we can all look at stuff and go, how the heck did you do that?
I went ahead and posted it. I'm not sure if it came through or not.
Let's see. Oh, did you put it? I see what you did. You put it in the other one. That's perfect. Hold on one second. I gotta put this. Put down the terrain, Colin. Put this
How long
down
have
for a
you
second.
been terrain, Colin?
Say again, brother.
Or sorry, not Colin, Lucas. I was asking Lucas a question. Sorry. How long have you been making terrain?
About 4 years now.
Cool. And
Yeah.
it was specifically for D&D, yeah.
Yes. So about 4.5 years ago, I stumbled upon Critical Role, I had played D&D in my, youth and high school years, and had taken a big hiatus. And I was like, well, wow, look at these nerdy voice actors playing D&D. This is fantastic. And about 6 months later, the bug to play bit me pretty hard.
Yep.
And I found a local gaming shop that had D&D nights.
Awesome.
So I started playing there, and really wanted to get back into DMing. That was one of my joys when I was in high school, was being the DM, and seeing some of the terrain that some of the other players were bringing. I found Black Magic Craft and started following his channel, and started seeing some of the other terrain videos out there, and YouTube channels. And I started crafting like a madman, just all out. I created a ton of dungeon tiles, and then started playing Adventures League. And Adventures League, you rarely have dungeons. Most of the modules are taverns or outdoor adventures. So I started building more scatter terrain to help DM those games.
Yep.
And I've never looked back. It's very meditative for me to step away at lunchtime or at the end of the day, and put my critical thinking mind aside and let my creative side loose. It's very therapeutic, very therapeutic. And I'll just start crafting and coming up with different ideas. And at first, much of it was driven by what I needed for that current module for the week. And then I started branching off to my home games of, well, what else can I do? Am I limited to just scatter terrain? And that's when I started building bigger pieces.
Nice. That is definitely yeah, anyone who can like think of what they need for the build for the week, and then try to go to town is like in creating the environments for their players, like in a weekly format, is impressive to me. Like that's a special love and a care as a DM that you have. That's awesome. I think it makes a huge difference for the players.
Yeah,
it makes a huge difference for the players. Where did you say you posted that link there, Lucas, for the Google Drive?
In the chat, in the live chat, but I have a feeling it got blocked.
It might have.
Yeah, so let me put it in the chat here.
Put it in the chat here in Zoom, and let me see if I can copy and paste it. I wonder if it's gonna.
Below. Can you put comments below yet? Or might not be allowed to put comments below.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of, that it won't allow me to link a link.
Well, what we can do, Lucas, if you're okay with it, is you can definitely send me the link in the Zoom chat here. I can copy it, and then I'll add it to the description or the comments. Like we'll find a way to link it up to everyone, so they can check out your builds, because they are amazing. I'm checking out. I always I love seeing the workspace that everyone has, and I'm digging your workspace there. Is that where do you craft in that space there, Lucas? Is that where you work?
Oh no, this is my office. Okay. This is my place of business, actually.
Copy that.
Yeah. No, I'm very lucky. I have a 2-car garage on the back of my property. That's my crafting space. So
I'm very jealous of you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I
have to clear my kitchen table every evening.
Yeah.
Hey, that's all you need. You just need a space. It doesn't matter where you craft, as long as you make a space for it and you can go from there. It's good to go. Well, let me see if I can try something here. Then I might have to readjust something, but that's okay. I'm gonna try it. because I'm going to pop myself back up. See if what that does to this. I'm probably going to mess everything up and try to readjust it here, but that's okay.
So I know that we're talking mainly about scatter terrain today, but I'm
Yes.
just curious about other things that Lucas has built. What's your biggest build that you've done, Lucas?
Oh, yeah.
That would be the swamp temple. That was was it 2.5 feet by 2.5 feet board,
Nice.
and that took a while. That took a few months, and that is a large set piece of an old ruined temple. So it could be either a lizard man or a Yuan-ti or what are those little frog people called? A temple that I could be using in different terrains or different scenarios. And the largest portion of the time spent on that was all of the brickwork are individual bricks.
Oh,
Yep.
nice.
So, yeah. So that took quite a bit. I didn't realize just how long having to glue all those individual bricks into place was going to take. It was definitely an eye-opening experience.
Did you glue them with hot glue or with PVA?
PVA. The hot glue left too much of a gap, and so I needed the dry time to adjust things, simply because I was kind of building on the fly. I mean, I kind of had an idea of where I wanted things to go, but I didn't want to use the hot glue where I wouldn't have enough time to adjust if I needed to. Made it a little bit more difficult, of course, because stuff's sliding around on you. But in the end, it did make it a little bit easier for me.
Okay.
So I decided to pop back up into the screen here to share some some stuff with you that I thought was pretty cool. It's actually stuff that I haven't built. Chris, buddy. So, next door to me, when we play in person, my next door neighbor, is a buddy of mine named Chris Fort, and he owns an Etsy store. He owns a clothing company, and it's focused mainly on outdoors, outdoor, like creating stuff for the U.S. national parks and shirts for that. But he also has an off-brand for D&D, and it's called Might and Magic. So, in addition to this, he's got some cool D&D shirts that he makes, and he's been painting. He's got an Etsy store. He sells the stuff that he paints, but he's recently quarantine has kind of bumped him into the realm of crafting too. So he's recently started making his own scatter terrain. So he's got some columns. You can see this now, yeah. Yeah, he started making these little round ones. He's got little weight there at the bottom. I think my favorite one though is this one. You guys have to check this out. This is pretty cool. Chris made this one where he made the little out of just the rope, hot glued it up. And then my favorite are the little manacles, like the little shackles that he's like created with the beads here on the side. So he's adding to the scatter terrain collection over here, and I'll take any help I can get. It's pretty cool. Those are some of my I think columns are probably one of the more predominantly featured things that I throw on the board whenever I'm playing too.
Yeah. One of the first projects you kind of make is the dungeon tiles and then the columns.
The columns, it's true. I've got the traditional or the standard Black Magic Craft ones too that are great. These are awesome on the board. These are cool. And then here's another one. This is a neat one that he got bored. Chris got bored and he was like, I'm gonna make this. So he made this little piece of scatter for a little cage, right? This one's pretty cool. Just toothpicks and XPS foam.
Yeah.
And I think he just used PVA for that one. He did his also hand. So Chris is a graphic designer too, Lucas, and you know he's a really good artist. So he took this guy. He took the little modular walls, but he
Uh-huh.
painted he painted the shadows and like
Oh, geez.
highlighted it in here. So it's got these. I don't know if it does it complete justice over the camera, but it's there's so much depth to these when you throw them on the board, and he's made a bunch of these. So he's got a little bit of the off color, kind of that different stone texture and different color that you had in your cobblestone tutorial that you put up on the guild a while back. But it's really neat. Like just the small detail of that goes a long way, and I really liked the shadow highlight within the brick. And I
Oh,
think
yeah.
even like if you look at it back here, like
Right.
they pop really well. It's pretty cool.
Right. And that's the biggest difficulty with terrain, is because in the real world you have shadows. You have multiple lighting effects that create shadows,
Right.
and that is very hard to capture on the tabletop.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. I think um, what else is there? There's some of these are some of my
If I just ask Lucas a quick question.
yo,
Sure.
please.
You mentioned that you did a little tutorial. Where's the tutorial?
On the Crafters Guild.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you haven't posted it on YouTube or something?
No, I haven't gone the whole YouTube route. Been mainly just crafting and posting to the Crafters Guild, or on Jeremy's channel, mainly just to show some of the processes. I've done tutorials on how to build little XPS barrels and crates. I posted some
Mm.
pictures of how I created the
You need
egg
some of that.
carton clay.
Yeah, if you go into the Tabletop Crafters Guild, and this is for anyone who's out there, and if you just search Lucas Upright's name, you can search the folks' name, and then it'll pop up it's pretty much all their history within
Yep.
within the within their activity since they've been a group member, and it's great. You'll find I really liked it's the cobble it's like a little cobblestone tile tutorial. What I really appreciated about that one, Michael, is it shows him drawing and the way he textured and pushed in, and it really looks just like separated. It's just a good texture work with the pen on the foam that makes the big difference. And then his paint job, kind of again reminiscent of that different. It's just the different stonework and that different color, and the tile once it's completed really pops, and it looks really cool. It looks really
Uh, the
cool.
the fun thing about that setup is that they're modular. They're all interlockable, and you won't see. They actually all line up, so all of the different rocks will line up from tile to tile.
Mm. And what? And now that's a combination. You were telling me that's a combination of two of the major channel and content creators, right?
Yeah,
That's the best
that's
of. Go ahead.
Yep. Black Magic Craft. Jeremy's one of my biggest inspirations. He was one of the first people that I stumbled on, and Wylock's Armory. Both of them are on YouTube.
Yep.
Wylock is very engineer focused.
Yeah.
So where Jeremy's more on the creative side, Wylock's very technical. So it's very interesting when he built his interlocking system. I was like, holy crap. I need to take all my tiles now and convert all of them to this Wylock system. Yeah, so I spent a few weeks just doing that, just retrofitting all of my
Dude.
tiles. And when I first set it up, it was amazing. Where before I had to worry about putting down a non-slip mat and telling my players, "Hey, don't move the don't
Don't
move the
move.
tiles." to where now I'm, got them all interlocked and it's solid. It sits on the table. People can bump the table. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah. Go ahead there, brother.
I was saying that was really cool. It's really cool. I mean, you mentioned Wylock. One thing that I liked one of his tutorials, which was not just the interlocking tile thing, but he was doing 1.5 inch
Yep.
grids, or sorry, 3.5 grids, so that you can fit walls in.
Yep.
It's really, really cool. I haven't actually done that yet, but in my mind, I'm going, oh, that's what I got to do.
Yep. All of my modular tiles are based off the Wylock system, the 1.25 inch squares. And what's weird is that after a while, when I'm thinking of any new concepts, I'm building around that size structure. So everything's 2.5, 5 inches, 7.5, 10 inches. Also that it all lines up with everything that I've built in the past. And it works out really well. The only time I go back to the 1 inch grid is when I'm doing larger set pieces, where that extra dimension really isn't needed. But everything else, all of my tiles, all of my modular pieces are all based off the 1.25 inch grid system.
Interesting. See, y'all are, this is, I have mad love and appreciation for you, all the fellow crafters that actually adhere to a system, and there's a method to their madness, where I'm just like, I'm gonna build this thing and I'm not gonna measure. I'm like, I have the idea and I'm gonna start cutting away.
Yeah.
And I'll think of I try to think of the scale initially for the mini and to try to scale it for that. But past that, past the measuring for like the dungeon tiles and measuring that out, that was the last thing I measured. That was a year ago.
Yeah. And some of the bigger projects, I'm the same way. And Jeremy said it in one of his videos. He goes, if you get stuck on the mindset of everything needs to be a specific size and specific ratio or specific dimensions, it's going to stop the creative process. It's just going to put the brakes on. And so a lot of my focus when I'm building larger pieces is just let the piece tell you where it needs to be and what let the looks tell you what the dimension should be, rather than, oh, this has got to be 3 inches or else it's just not going to work. The lighthouses that I built was a perfect example of that. I mean, I had an idea of what I wanted it to look like, but all of the final dimensions were decided based on materials I used. I used a plastic container that I got from a takeout order. I used a Chick-fil-A styrofoam cup. I used a glass cup, plastic, one of those plastic crystal cups that they have, that disposable cups.
Yeah.
And I stacked them up, and that was the size of the lighthouse. That was it. And there was no measuring involved.
See, that's I think, like you said, it's true. It's definitely kind of a, I don't know if it's Zen, but it's definitely a good approach to let the build just inform you as you go along, and to kind of just, what you were saying, Lucas, is to follow your gut, right? And figure out like what your next step is. Like it's good, and it's I think the thing that I try to remind myself too is, it's okay to not have the answer right away. You don't have to, if you're stuck at a part of it and you just want to like take a break from it, just put it down for a second, walk away, and come back to it a little bit later. You'll figure it out.
It'll come to you, absolutely. Yeah. And in the end, what really matters, it's your opinion. If it looks good to you, that's all that matters.
Right?
Everybody's got their different style, the different colors that they like to use. A lot. I noticed that sometimes in a lot of my builds, I go heavy earth tones. And going back to the cobblestones, that was a departure for me. I had never used such bright colors on my builds before.
Right.
and I started with it, and it was like at first I was like, well, no, this is too bright. This is not going to work. And then once I put it all together, and you got a few pieces together, and it spreads out. It was like, whoa, oh, wow, that the color actually helps, but with the whole overall look of it.
Right. It does. It makes a huge difference. And it's just big moments like that when you find. I don't know. I think that's incredibly exhilarating for me as well. You're talking about trying something you've never tried before. Yeah, doing something, like kind of working out of the comfort zone a little bit.
Right.
Like you take a chance, especially when you get to the pit when you're painting. If
Right.
you haven't gotten to this stage where you are, if you've tried something and it's new, it's terrifying because once you paint it, I mean, you can always go back and repaint it, but you're you're committing, you're making a commitment to that particular
Right.
that particular color scheme at that moment in time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's the great thing about our crafting is that nothing is set in stone.
Right.
I mean, if you don't like the way that something's progressing, just change course,
Right.
repaint over the top of it,
Sure.
build something new.
Build something new. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, definitely.
So this is I just grabbed, I had a couple spare pieces of XPS. So I was like, well, what else can I make scatter wise today? So I'm just kind of trying to create a couple little stone obelisk type pillars that I'll weight down and throw on the table. So these are just carving them up and trying to texture them like with some random rock formations. So that's this one. What if I don't know. I guess what else could I do? Have you ever chunked the foam out by hand, Lucas? Have you done that before?
Yeah, I tried that. That was one of the early things that I tried. I didn't like it so much. I thought it was a little too obvious or too chunky.
Yeah, yeah.
So what I prefer to use is two methods. The first one is using a wire brush to kind of go at different angles,
Yep, yep.
and it creates a more granular effect.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'll use the X-Acto knife and use the whole, bunch of horizontal cuts and then kind of just chip away at it a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's nice too, to give it a little
Yeah,
bit more of like natural wear and tear rock look.
right,
Let me
exactly.
try that.
More
I'm
of
gonna
a
try it.
layered effect. Um, and I prefer those two methods. For me, at least, it looks more realistic or more stylistic.
Hmm. I'm gonna try your technique of kind of scoring the foam with the X-Acto knife here and see how that goes. Amy Root in the chat has asked us a question: do you guys ever attempt organic things like moss, grass, trees,
Oh
or
yeah.
leaves? Yeah, go. Lucas, we'll have you go. We'll have you respond to that, and then Michael, I know, will have some response to that as well. Go ahead.
Yeah. Whenever possible, when I start thinking of my next project, I always try and think of what I can use organically,
That's cool.
what's available to me. I use a lot of reindeer moss. Uh, Almost all of my bushes and trees and uh, any kind of leaf type terrain, I use the reindeer moss as my base. I use the branches of the honeysuckle tree whenever possible.
Mm.
All of my what do you call it? The um, dust or whatever, the what do you call it? The oh my god, mental block there.
Dust. Are you talking about the sand? What are you talking
Yeah,
about? Like
the sand or
gravel?
yeah, is it's all either sawdust
Oh,
or yeah, or
are you talking
coffee
about
grounds.
flocking?
Yes, flocking. Thank you.
Flocking.
Oh boy, I'm telling you, sometimes that mind just
I
goes off.
couldn't find it either. I was just like, what
Yeah,
is he talking about? Huh? Flocking.
yeah, yeah. So all of my flocking is sawdust from wood that I've actually had to cut. or coffee grounds. So I always try to do things organically whenever possible.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So it's something that you utilize a lot. That's cool.
Yes. Yes.
And Michael, what about you? You kind of your builds and the videos that you've been posting as of late. You've been kind of going down that road yourself, my friend.
All of my rock terrain is bark.
Yeah.
All of it, and I find that pine bark, this stuff, it's kind of got layers in it, and whenever you paint it up with the black Mod Podge and a bit of dry brushing, it just looks like a quarry, slate quarry kind of thing. I love the look of that. So I just go to the park. Anytime I go to the park, I pick up bark and bring it home.
Nice.
In terms of like using natural products, to be honest, that's probably the majority of my natural. I did use on ivy, on the larger ivy branches or whatever. You get these fronds that come off their little and they make great grass tufts.
Oh wow. Okay.
So I not trying to get you to go and look at one of my videos or anything, but on the build that I did, my latest terrain piece that I did on my channel, you can see what I mean. There's these little grass tufts, and they are awesome. They I just paint them and just stick them in, so they work really well. But that's about it. In terms of my flocking, all my flocking is homemade as well, but it is hemp string cut up and painted, and so. But I guess hemp's natural, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sure, we'll go with that. My question, for you guys and Amy, is are coffee sticks natural? I mean, kind of. It's wood.
Yeah.
It's balsa.
Yeah.
It's kind of natural. We'll see. I'm sure she's gonna have a response for me in the chat about my smart aleck response. So, but I haven't really used a whole lot of natural stuff. A lot of my stuff has just been I've worked a lot with. I love working with XPS foam.
Yeah.
And the foam core. I really like taking the random block piece and then transforming it into something else. That's been a huge part of the thrill and fun for me in the craft. My latest one of these days, I don't know when, maybe we'll do it on one of the live streams, but one of the next builds is going to be a family one where we build for Halloween. We'll build some gravestones out of XPS and try to decorate. We started decorating for Halloween yesterday, so that might be, I think that'll be a fun project. But the challenge I'm thinking about there, so some front oh my goodness gracious. that is to Amy's response is, I would never challenge the organic nature of your wood. Ha 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 ha. Look at you. That's what I deserve. That's what I get. So I'm going to build some real life natural scatter terrain with the gravestones. But here's my quandary with that, you guys, and for everyone in the chat. How do you seal? Like, my worry is, if they obviously can't. I don't think they stay out on the front lawn and just get hit by the sprinklers the whole time. But is there a better sealant besides Mod Podge to help ensure that they last, the rest of the month out there, wear and tear on a daily basis? Like, that's kind of my thought of, like, how do I seal that larger piece of scatter terrain? Because that's a lot of Mod Podge for a larger build, like a headstone like that. What would you use, Lucas, off the top of your head? What would you think to do?
Acrylic sealer.
Sealer?
Spray sealer.
Okay.
And typically, you're not so worried about the structure itself.
No.
XPS is not going to go anywhere. It's mainly just sealing the paint in.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. So if you use the acrylic sealer and give it good 48 hours to cure, That stuff's
Uh-huh.
pretty solid afterwards.
Okay. So an acrylic sealer. Well, there you go. I think then that's what I have to do. Is that something you can get like the local
Oh yeah.
hardware store? Okay.
Oh yeah.
I
Yeah.
haven't
You can
bought
pick
that
it up
before.
at the yeah. You can get it in the big box stores, or Michael's, Hobby Lobby. They all carry it.
Nice. What is this? I was about to hit you up, Danny, in the chat. Why some Oops exterior paint at your hardware store? Oh, why buy some Oops exterior paint at your hardware store? Oh, that's not a bad idea too. Daniel's got a good point. Of I could totally use some of that that exterior paint would help seal it too. That's a good point. All right, I definitely I'm excited that I kind of I want to throw down the gauntlet a little bit. I think it'll be fun. I whoever wants to take it up. This is Lucas. This is Michael. This is Amy Root. This is Daniel. Whoever's in the chat out there. I want to see it's Halloween time. So it could be any size headstone. If you don't want to do the big size headstone, that's okay. But let's see within a week's time, what y'all got for headstone. Well, we can post the pictures and share them with each other, and come back and see who's got came up with their different headstones. My initial headstone. I'm thinking about I'm thinking about doing a lot like big life size one. So please don't feel like you need to do a big life size one. If you want to do a small one, do a small one. But that's my crazy crafter throwdown challenge for everyone for the next week. Build your build your headstone. Build your headstones. See what they come up with.
Because over here, Halloween's not such a big deal.
Is it not?
No, so I know that
Golly.
I mean, basically, if you walk down a street in London and you see somebody that's got their house decorated with Halloween stuff, you're walking past and you're going, they're American.
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah, you're being awfully nice. Don't you typically say bloody Americans?
I guess it's kind of getting a little bit more popular now, and because I'm into all things spooky. I love like horror movies and stuff. So in our house, we'll do a little bit Halloween, and I'm gonna probably take my daughter. Well, I don't know if I can take my daughter trick or treating right now. I don't know what the rules are.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so we'll have a bit of fun, but our whole street, no one really does it. You know, no one really does it. I know in America it's like this whole thing where like everybody's out, and I mean it looks great. I mean it reminds me of like all the best horror movies where they start on Halloween, like Halloween, and you're walking around and everyone's out. Or E.T. I used to love E.T. as a kid.
Yeah.
And
Halloween.
whenever I was a kid, I was just going like, "What is this? Like this just doesn't happen." Like
Yeah.
That's America's son. That's America.
Yeah. Yeah, and definitely with the increase of cosplay and a lot of people starting to get into that creative space.
Yeah.
It's made Halloween the special part of Halloween here for us in America has been the costumes. We have that. Well, we did have them most of the year now. Everything's been on hiatus since COVID.
Right. It's that's brought us up to like what do we do with the kids this year too, and I think said we're very fortunate. We have our friends next door, and their daughter and our son, they're 2 weeks apart in age, so they go to school together. And we're kind of thinking of like a Halloween Easter egg, kind of like a Halloween hunt, basically. Try to like do something, because we're definitely not like trick or treating is out of the question this year. We're not gonna be able to do it. So
that's a great idea.
Yeah, I think, but it would be fun. Like I got to see how much time we have in between. Like I'd love to like decorate and like get all spooky and like create like a section of the house or like the back patio and make it all spooky and stuff. But I got to see how how extensive we want to go this year. It'd be fun to make a big deal out of it this year for them, because it's always like the last, both my son and his bestie next door, they love dressing up, they love Halloween, so it's a fun time for them. Yeah, I'm proposing a question to Jammy Jam here in the chat, Michael. You're not gonna like it. Your uncle needs to dress up this Halloween. You should pick his costume. What would it be? I'm asking Jammy Jam what you should dress up as for Halloween this year. This is the year to do that. There's a first time for everything. Oh, let me show you this. Here we go, Lucas. This is, I've kind of trying to taking that scoring effect that you're talking about, trying to get the light for it. But
yep.
What else? What else? Any other thing like?
So what you'll do is, if you close the X-Acto blade,
yeah,
and just kind of use that metal part of it, go along some of those cut lines and just kind of pick it off.
So you're talking. So say that again. Take the X-Acto blade.
Okay, so you have an actual X-Acto blade. I was thinking of the sliding blades.
The Olfa?
Yeah, the Olfa. So close the blade.
Okay.
And the metal edge there on the front of there.
Yeah.
You just kind of hit the some of the horizontal cuts that you've made on the XPS foam and just kind of pull it off.
Oh.
So it's sort of like a chipping effect.
Oh. Look at this. This is new stuff. Oh, shoot. Look at that. Oh.
Really cool when you find out something like a little technique.
Look at that. So I'm going to do a couple of these. This is really cool. I've never done that before. Man, that's cool. Check this out. Hold on. I'm going to show you guys here in a second. I'm having too much fun, but I gotta show you guys what this does. So I gotta get a little bit more specific with my cuts next time. But now, Toy's taken. I'm gonna try to show you guys. So here's the scored side that I haven't done that to. Okay, check this out, Michael. So this is the scored side, and then if I flip it, you can see a couple of these larger places, right, where I've hit that, and it's just got some other unique texture. This side too, like right here, it's starting to give it a little bit more of a natural indentation and feel with that. That's pretty cool. Plus as I'm digging in a little bit with the duller side of the XPS, when I'm digging in with the dull metal tip, it kind of, that also is creating more texture with it as well.
Yep.
That's really cool. That's why everyone should tune in and subscribe to this channel. We're learning something new. This is what I'm saying. Like, everyone in the guild has got their own unique ways of tackling different stuff, and I think that's one of my favorite things about it, is being able to share that information with other crafters and new techniques.
Yeah, not only that, Colin, just seeing all the different techniques that people use.
Yeah.
Kind of throw it all into your brain and let it stew in there, and you come up with your own preferred method of doing things.
Yep. It's amazing. That's what I love about it. Your Jammy Jam says Cinderella, Michael, so I agree. I think that's a great costume. If everyone in the chat believes Michael should dress up as Cinderella for Halloween, then say aye.
If you do, right, I'll tell you what. If we do a live stream on Halloween, I'll dress up as Cinderella.
Oh wow!
Are we? It is the day after, and that is it's true. Amy posted it in here.
Well, Oh well, I guess you don't get that privilege.
Well, hold on. Maybe we have a special Saturday. Yeah, the eyes are flowing in right now, Michael. It's not looking good for you. It's not looking good for you. I guess Lucas and I should cast our vote. Ready? We'll cast it on the count of three. Lucas, we'll say either aye or nay for him dressing up as Cinderella. 1, 2, 3.
Aye.
Yeah, there it is. Boom, Cinderella.
You guys think that I haven't dressed up as a woman before?
Oh, please. You're talking to. I have lived a life in the theater so far. If I'm not dressing up like a woman on a regular basis, I'm not doing my job right. So, it's amazing.
Yeah.
You know what? I think if you're gonna dress up as Cinderella, I'll stand in solidarity with you. I'll dress up as Cinderella too, brother. We'll
Okay,
we'll cosplay who's got the best Cinderella on the now. And here's the reason we should do it. Are you ready for this? Halloween is my birthday,
Oh, wow.
so it would be the first, which would be Sunday, the day after my birthday. So we'll we can cosplay Cinderella. It'll be when's the Have you ever dressed up? Have you ever dressed up for Halloween, Michael?
yes, one time.
Okay. I'm
And
sure. Was it Snow White or Cinderella? Was this the first time as Cinderella? Basically, probably.
it was Lurch or something from the Addams Family.
That's a great one. Lurch is great. Oh
And
my goodness.
my wife, she dressed. That was for like literally one Halloween party. It was very alcohol fueled, basically.
What has been your favorite costume? Did you like? It can be any time from kid, adult, Lucas, that you grew up with. Like, what was your favorite costume? Do you remember?
Well, I've always been on the creative side.
Yeah.
So whenever I did any costumes, it was basically just what I thought would be a cool idea.
Nice.
I think the best one I ever made was this was way back. This was when Stargate first came out, the movie.
Oh, cool.
So I made a costume mimicking those the Egyptian warriors with a whole head on it, and I built stilt platforms. So I was 6.5 feet tall.
Oh, holy
Yeah,
crap!
with the stilts and everything, and had the whole. I made one of those hyena or jackal heads out of corrugated, and wrapped
Dude.
myself up, and yeah,
Dude.
that was my favorite costume.
Oh, that's epic. That is epic.
Yeah, now it's mainly that my kids have gotten older.
Mhm.
And they've gotten into cosplay and Halloween and anime, and my biggest thrill now is making costumes for them and
Oh.
props for them. Going to Anime Expo
Oh
or
yeah.
some of the other stuff, and just helping them make all their costumes has been a thrill for me.
Dude, super fun. I have so Amy Root, who's here in the chat with me, is a fellow theater artist, now playwright, director, fight choreographer, teacher extraordinaire. She's amazing. But we've worked together for years, and we have a colleague of ours who is a prop master at Ohio State, and his name's Tom Fiocchi, and he's a sword maker, and as the prop master, he's huge into Star Wars, and he makes full Mandalorian armor. So like his whole family has Mandalorian armor that he's crafted for them and built for them. Oh, it's rad. It's rad. I'll have to find it, and I'll send you. I'll have to send you the picture, both to you and Michael. It's amazing. Amy in the chat has already read my mind. Her go-to costumes are Bette Midler as Winfred. Her go-tos are Bette Midler as Winfred in Hocus Pocus or Miss Frizzle. That's pretty awesome. Those are good costumes.
That is one of my daughter's favorite movies. She just watched it again last night, actually.
It's a great movie.
Yeah. We're thrilled that they're talking about a Hocus Pocus too.
Please, some brightness. We need some brightness in the world.
Yeah.
We'll definitely take a Hocus Pocus sequel.
Sanderson sisters. Yeah, she loves that show. I kid you not, she watched it again last night with my wife.
Nice. Nice.
She's also in drama and choir and theater.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
So when the school shut down, that really hit her hard.
Hit her hard.
Uh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's rough. We've got um, Danny. Danny here in the chat is a high school teacher and teaches tech side. But Danny's got a background in all sorts of theater, like in acting as well. But it's the conversation that everyone's having right now is how same conversation we're having, how to help the students right now in an online format for everyone in any genre. It's quite challenging.
yeah.
Does Amy's asking, does she sing book all over the house? That's what
No,
she's asking.
no. She likes the song that what's her name sings that to charm the children.
Oh, Amy will have to spout that one out because I don't remember how that goes.
Yeah, Sarah Jessica Parker's character, she sings this song to kind of charm the children to follow her.
What's the name of that song, Amy? Name that song.
Is it not just Charm the Children? Is that not the name of it?
I don't
Possibly.
remember. Could be.
I'm totally ignorant because, believe it or not, guys, I've not seen Hocus Pocus.
Oh wow. Yeah, it's a very classical show. Definitely a very Halloween themed favorite for us here in the States.
Oh yeah, it's a big one. Now, Daniel, Daniel, is that the name of the song, or are you just giving us the lyrics? Because in my mind, I'm picturing Daniel singing this song. Come, little children, I'll take thee away.
Yeah.
He's putting the lyrics up there. Well, what else? What other scatter do I have here? This is some cool. These are silly ones that I built out of dowels. I had some old dowels laying around. Things that I've thrown on all the time. Or throw on the board all the time. These little ladders.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Little ladders that basically just have. I threw some Agrax Earthshade on them. I didn't even paint them. I was just like, here's some Agrax Earthshade, go in there. But I used hot glue, and these are brittle. Like, these things will fall off like nothing. So I don't know if it's the dowel itself that doesn't take it. I'm not sure why they've fallen off more than any other. I wonder if I should have used super glue instead of the hot glue.
Possibly, but what happens is there isn't a lot of contact area. Okay. So regardless of what glue you use, there just really isn't a lot of contact area.
Yeah.
I'll be back in a minute, guys. I've got to go and get my Mod Podge. I left it in the kitchen.
Go get it. No, you're all good.
So what I've done in those instances, Colin, is I've actually cut little grooves on the risers.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll sit in a little bit deeper. And I've actually even gone so far as to get the hemp rope and separated it down to just the strands, and I tied it around the sections to give it more of a look that the ladder's tied together.
Dude, that's super cool. Like that totally would look rad if I'd like tied off and added it. Still could, but I totally see what you're saying about like dipping in with the little groove. Even with like a Dremel tool, I could take the Dremel tool and just like and divot that
just
down.
Real fast. Yep, absolutely. And that's just to increase the contact area you have to glue.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I have not tried that before. I'm gonna have to do that again. All these things are like the first things that I've ever first time building them. Yep. These are probably one of my favorite pieces of scatter that I built. And this is again, you'll be shocked to hear inspired by Black Magic Craft, right? But the little goblin barricades.
Oh, wow, those are nice.
Yeah, these came out pretty good. I built these a while ago, and I was like, oh man, this is the first time I was like, it's amazing like how little detail, because this is just coffee stir sticks, a few toothpicks, and then it's the butcher paper that I lay out. It's like painter's uh, paper that I roll out that you would normally lay down for paint, but I just use it for whenever I lay out a large surface area to not try to ruin my wife's nice patio table.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I'll cut some of this up and use this, dude. And also the Agrax Earthshade is the best wash. It will turn any project into pros. It'll make you feel. It makes me feel like I'm an awesome crafter every time I throw it down
Yeah.
on my builds.
Yeah. We say that a lot in the crafting world, is that the wash saves the project.
The wash saves the project. Although, here's check. So this is kind of dried now. I feel like it got too dark. I'm gonna have to go back and hit it up with some highlight on my tree.
Yep.
But it still looks good. Like you could throw this down and be happy. I didn't quite get all the tinfoil down there at the bottom painted, but that's okay. You're not gonna look down there. But yeah, I'm also again somewhere. Chris Fort's smiling, going, "Yeah, you're painting in the dark essentially," and I kind of am. So I don't have the best lighting, so I was pretty heavy-handed with this wash. But you know what I might try now? I have this green wash, and it's in a spray bottle. I've been using it on like shingles, so I did multiple layers on it's like a large tavern build. It's not a tavern, but it's a large structure, and I put a nice blue shingle on it, and then I layered spraying this homemade green wash on it. So maybe I'm gonna see what it's like if I throw a little bit of this green wash on it right now. See what that does.
There's I don't know, maybe Lucas, you know him, or maybe you know him, Colin, but there's a guy posting in the Tabletop Crafters Guild who's pretty much blowing my mind.
Who is it?
The guy called Stephen, I think his name is Steve Hoy.
Steve Hoy. I'm not sure if I've seen it. I've seen his work.
But he's been just creating some like houses and stuff up, and it's just so good. Really enjoy his work.
Doing good stuff, huh? Man.
I was just curious if you'd seen it.
I haven't. Steve Hoy. We'll have to see if we can track down. Maybe Steve will come on the show. Have you seen Steve's work at all, Lucas?
Possibly. I mean, I browse that Tabletop Crafters Guild website constantly.
Yeah, me too.
So I probably have, and don't equate the name to the images.
Right.
Right. Is there anyone right now on the guild that, besides the Wylocks and the Black Magic Crafts, is there anyone else that you are going, oh man, you've admired and followed their work that we should check out, Lucas? And that everyone else watching should check out?
Oh wow. That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
There is this one guy that does a lot of crafting, but I'm trying to remember if he's on the Wylock or BMC channel and not the Tabletop Crafters Guild.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to look it up and see where that is. And he does some amazing work. I think it's on the Black Magic Craft Facebook.
Okay.
But he does some amazing work. He's very detail oriented.
Okay.
And some of the stuff that he does, it blows my mind how detailed he can get on his projects. I'm gonna have to definitely look that up and see if I can get his some information.
Stuff, yeah. See if you can find it, and then that'll be one we can throw out there for everyone to check out. I know, Daniel, you recently joined. Daniel's there in the chat. Daniel recently joined the guild within the last week or so. Is there anyone on there that you have discovered that we should be, checking out? Like, is there anything that's caught your eye this last week? And also, what's going to be the first piece of scatter terrain you build, Daniel? Because Daniel, I don't know if you saw. So he's new to the craft too. Like Daniel's a buddy of mine that's been playing D&D for a while, Lucas, and he's got several campaigns going, and he recently, having access to some pretty cool equipment, with his position at school, he used a bandsaw and he's been cutting XPS foam, and he made some bridges recently, and I'm like, it's like the first, like he just built it with his kids on an afternoon. I was like, dude, these bridges, like he's got a couple bridges that he's built now. They're awesome. So Daniel's newer to the hobby, but he's already crushing it. He's got some really cool builds.
Cool.
Yeah.
Last week's stream.
Yeah, the notebooks. Yeah. The notebooks he's creating are amazing. Talk a little bit more about those notebooks, Michael. They're ridiculous.
The notebooks are really, really cool. He's I think that's laser burning into the wood.
Yeah.
So the covers. So and I love that stuff anyway. So as soon as I saw that, I was very, very cool. I think it's extremely cool.
Yep.
I mean, these tools, even people who've got procs on, I'd love to get procs on someday.
Oh yeah.
All of these little tools that people have, and I'm going like, right. Well, I'm just going to have to keep doing what I'm doing until I can afford that.
Yeah.
The list is not getting shorter; it's getting a lot longer.
Yeah. Unfortunately, once you start going down that rabbit hole,
that's the theme. We keep talking about that. I keep talking about the rabbit hole and how far and deep it goes. Let's see. Nicholas Schoenberger on the Tabletop Crafters Guild is making it a truly amazing ship. So Nicholas Schoenberger, I'm gonna have to look that up right now on my phone and check that out. See how what that ship is doing.
There was one guy recently who made a castle that was unbelievable. Like, it was so damn good. I can't remember his name. I think it's a foreign European name, but like his profile picture is this little green monster guy. I don't know. Surely you guys have seen him. Like, let me just see if I can.
Is it on Instagram or on the guild on the Facebook group?
On the guild Facebook
the guild
group.
Do you follow anyone on Instagram at all, Lucas?
No, haven't really been on Instagram at all. Most of the stuff that I watch is YouTube and Facebook.
I'll tell you this much, brother. It's worth creating an Instagram just for some of the folks that are on Instagram that don't post on YouTube or Facebook. There are some amazing individuals out there, dude.
Yeah.
Like they've got some awesome stuff. Let's see. I'm gonna check out Nicholas Schoenberger. Oh, Nicholas, if you watch this and I'm messing your name up, I'm sorry. I will get it right. Hopefully, you're on the show one day.
What I've been watching a lot of lately is actually a YouTube channel called RP Archive.
Archive. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. He's building a lot of modular terrain with magnets. And he just recently posted a video where he built sort of like a mountainside modular build that fits along with all his other stuff. And he builds this fantastic sort of like mountainside castle with all of his modular pieces. It was just amazing. And I like watching his channel, just simply watching him come up with the ideas of how to fit in all the different styles of blocks to come up with this amazing build afterwards.
Dude, that I have magnets, but I haven't utilized them at all in any of my builds. I bought them months ago, and I was like, I'm going to use magnets. I've not used magnets yet in my builds.
Yeah,
uses them a lot in tabletop witchcraft. He uses magnets
yeah.
quite a lot.
Oh yeah, that's like his go-to thing there.
Yeah, man.
Everything he builds has magnets in it.
Yeah, he loves
Well,
the magnets in it. His builds are he came onto this. It's been about a year now,
Yep,
and
relatively new.
John he just came in building epic stuff. His stuff looks great. He's got great builds. If you
Yeah,
haven't seen Tabletop Witchcraft, you should check it out. Uh, did you guys see his post this week from on YouTube on what
I
his update for his channel? He's gonna stop the weekly builds.
think
I
He's
did
he,
not.
and
yeah
then
he's
he posted a video like an hour later.
Yeah,
as it goes. It's a lot, man. It's a lot
yeah.
creating. I mean, just in the craft alone and the hobby alone is extremely time consuming. On a good week for you, Lucas, like how often do you get to craft? Like how many hours do you get to spend a week doing the hobby?
Oh, uh, probably if I'm lucky and I don't have a lot of things going on the weekend and I can spend the weekend crafting, I'll sit back there all weekend. But during the week, I would probably say about 10 to 12 hours.
That's pretty
Good.
good. That's a good amount of time. I'm uh I'm definitely I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I try to get in a little bit this week. Like I didn't have a lot of time this week and I had maybe I don't know. I had maybe like a couple hours and my son was like, "Dad, will you stop working and craft with me?" And I was like, "Yes."
Yeah.
And then, that's where he saw me working on some ice scatter terrain last week and he wanted to build some ice scatter terrain. That's when I busted out the log that I'm trying to finish up and put the washes on this week. And that was it. And I got a little bit of time last night. I stayed up a little later than I should have, putting on kind of like putting another coat of paint on and doing a little dry brush on the tree. But I wish I had 10 hours a week
Yeah.
during the week.
And like I said before, it's therapeutic for me.
Yeah,
So,
one hundred percent.
even if I was spending just a half an hour back there, uh, just fooling around with the latest project, adding a coat of paint or cutting up something, uh, it's almost something that I have to do at
It's
least a little bit each day,
Yeah.
just to cleanse the palate, as they say.
No, it's important. I think it's it makes a big difference for me. I totally it's definitely therapeutic for me as well. Like I think it's just relaxing. You get to stop and create something, and the act of yeah, I've talked about this before. Like the act of building terrain it helps. It's something that we get to do and enjoy, but ultimately you're building it for other people to experience and enjoy on the table too. That's something that I always really appreciate from the craft is it's not just for you. It doesn't just serve your purpose. Like it's for other people too. I really
Yeah,
like that.
it's definitely fun to put something on the table and get the oohs and ahs.
Yeah, yeah. When you get to reveal that one element from the build that everyone's like, "What?" Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Daniel in the chat here, guys, is saying he teaches a lot of nerdy high school students. If they have a gridded game mat and $3 to spend on some foam core, what are your top 3 projects that they should be making right now? So a game mat and $3 to spend on foam core. What are the top 3 projects that would we spend on? Like what would we build if we had $3 in foam core?
well, definitely, I would build some kind of small hut or home or something. A lot of adventures can center around, visiting an old hermit out in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the columns are definitely one of the go-to things. Always great to have
Mm-hmm.
columns as line of sight or give some of your softer player or softer health players a chance to hide. Um,
Nice. What
yeah.
else? What else? We can go. If you can think of another one, Lucas. Michael, what would you? What would be one of the? What would be one of your suggestions?
I don't know, maybe just like little trees and scatter terrain, like what we've been talking about, is like, I mean, like you guys said at the beginning of the stream, that's extremely useful for a game to take anywhere, and you can just pop it on the table. I mean, like I'm not. I have basically done what Lucas said. I built my little hut for the woods, and I've built like those. Those are the things that I started on. So I agree with what Lucas is saying, really.
Mm. Yeah, it's the columns are a huge one to start with, Daniel, and he's asking how many should you build. The answer is as many as you can, but I think at least six to start with.
Yeah.
Six is a good minimum to start with, and then you can go from there. But on a large, think of the rooms and the environment that you might be inhabiting. Six is a pretty sizable room that you can spread out. And it also depends on the size of your columns as well. The thing that I've been doing, I should have got it. I didn't grab this piece of scatter, but I bought a Shifting Lands jig cutter for shapes, and the hexagon has been a really cool one, and I've taken those, cut those out, and stacked like three of them with the inch cut, so you can create these large pillars for scale. And then if you have those large pillars for scale around, and then you set them in proportion with some smaller stuff, you can create some really unique imagery, and give you can add some pretty epic scope and scale to the build depending on the size. So like I think columns of all shapes and sizes is a good one with for the scatter. But foam core after the columns, I would say walls. Like walls would be a good little one, and you could just draw that texture in there. You
Mm-hmm.
could draw cobblestone, you could draw brickwork, you could cut it up in half. You could make it look like half walls, but that kind of scatter terrain where the walls, just because these are like individual XPS brickwork, you can take that foam core, and the dollar store foam core takes it, I think, even better because it's thinner, and just draw that texture on there. You can layer a couple sheets together to give it a little bit of thickness, and then I feel like the walls would be a really good one to build too. Columns, walls, trees, yeah. You could take the individual trees and create you could 100% glue the foam core together, shave it off and around, and create like that tree. And then you could even take bits of the foam core that you've used to cut up, and you make those branches. The trees would be good. What else? What else could you use the dollar store foam core for? Oh, I
I
had
mean,
it.
I've
Go ahead.
I honestly I've never used foam core to build anything yet, and just because whenever I started doing the projects, I had a small budget, and I bought a
Mm-hmm.
whole bunch of stuff, and that just wasn't in there. I bought XPS foam. I bought two large sheets of XPS foam because I thought I would use that more than the foam core. So
Yep.
I use XPS, I think, a lot more. I don't know. I like for scatter. I use XPS more than I do foam core
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
It's
go ahead, Lucas.
the problem with the foam core is you typically need to either cut it up and stack it to give it any kind of strength, or glue it to something else. Simply because uh, it's thin, and once you start applying glue to it, it has a high tendency to warp.
Mm,
So depending on, if you get the dollar stone foam core where the one side peels off or both sides peel off, it textures really well, but you really have a tough time working with it unless you can attach it to something else.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, I am tipped. That is true. On my builds, I've put together that have consisted of the foam core for a larger like building. I've glued that foam core to a melt carton, right? I've to give it that better structure and that
Yeah.
better more a little bit more strength and rigidity. 100%. One other thing of foam core. Keep going. If you guys got something, go ahead. I'm trying to think of. I had an idea of that last, like another great thing to build with the foam core early on, but I lost it. I got to think about it.
Yeah. Well, definitely, Jeremy did the Black Magic Craft did that staircase thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that was
Yep.
foam core. So I mean, you really you can use it, but you just have to understand that you'll more than likely have to stack it somehow to give it some kind of strength.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely uh, once you put it together and pair it in strength, it's going to be a much more. It's going to last longer. Um, we're gonna play a new like that's a great drinking game. Every time one of us mentions Jeremy did this on Black Magic Craft, we'll be smashed within the first 30
Yeah,
minutes of the
yeah,
stream.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
It's a big influence, and it's been
Yeah,
that's what's so cool about DM Scotty and all these content creators, like
yeah,
such a big source of inspiration for a Facebook group with over 35,000 members. It's amazing. That's amazing
yeah,
to me.
yeah.
I just love how big and how vast that community is and how supportive it is. Um, how many columns do you consider to be the minimum? Oh wait, 6. No, I answered that question. That's good. I thought you were asking how many pieces of foam is it for a column, and I was like, I think it's 12 or 14 for the scale, but you're asking how many to make. The answer is always as many as you can.
Yeah.
As many as you can make. God, what was that last thing?
Doors.
I mean, doors are a great one too. Doors are a fantastic one that you could make. You could make, boats would be pretty easy to make out of the foam core too. Those take the nice thing about foam core is that you can shape it to pretty much whatever you want.
Yeah.
You can form that around and make some pretty awesome builds as a result of it.
Yep. Definitely. Being able to bend it into shape around a form
Yep.
makes it very versatile.
What's the hardest thing you've ever built, Lucas? What's the
Ooh.
most challenging build you've ever taken?
Definitely the ship that I made.
Mm,
I when I first started putting it together, I definitely wanted a specific shape in mind,
yeah.
and just coming up with a way to make it where it comes apart. It's definitely easy just to get some blocks together and make a solid shape. But how do you make it so that you can then pull it apart and have the different decks?
Oh,
So that was challenging. That was fun. Um, and I
what was the
actually,
solve for that? What did you do? What was the aha moment for that?
so what I did was, what I figured was, well, why don't I build it uh, with the separate levels stacked, and
Mm,
then use the foam core to wrap it around the edge,
mm-hmm.
glue it into place as one solid piece, and then once it was completed, cut it along one of the plank lines,
I see.
and then reinforce it. So that's what I ended up doing, rather than trying to think of a way to build it individually and make it stackable. I built it as one piece that I could then cut apart.
Oh, nice. I like
Yeah.
that. That is a smart solve for that. It's been on my radar. We have a boat in our campaign,
Yeah.
and I've always thought it might be a really cool um, gift to the party. When they return, we have a boat. There's two things we have. we have an inn and ale house called the Stony Tankard, right? So building the Stony Tankard has been one of my goals and hopes, and then also our boat, right? What is it? Is it a boat? A boat called Wanda, I believe, is the name of our boat.
Yeah.
So hopefully, that's in a future build for me, is to tackle that.
Yeah, and that was the whole reason why I did tackle it, was because the players in the campaign had to get on a boat because they were originally based on an island, and it just so happened that one of the players' characters died right before they made it to the boat.
Oh,
and the rest of the party decided to name the boat after the character.
oh,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah.
But
So that's how the
but
name
sad
of it.
too.
Yeah, yeah. But that was really cool that they were able to name the boat after that character.
That hasn't happened for us yet. Knock on wood. Like, we haven't had anyone die in our campaign yet. We've come we've come close to getting wrecked pretty hard for making some crazy decisions, but we did have one of our players turn on us in game and
Oh, wow.
attack the party, and it was a really cool moment that had been building and building, and it's turned into an amazing arc within the campaign. And that party member rolled up a new character and someone else joined, but that initially, when they turned, they were fighting everyone, and we ended up capturing that person and then going and dealing with something, but we had secured them, or we thought we'd secured them, and of course when we came back they'd escaped. So at some point, that person's coming back. It's going to be amazing. That's going to be amazing.
Interesting.
Let's see where how far you look like you've gotten pretty far along there, Michael, with the tree there. Let's check that out. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. Is that bark?
Oh, very cool.
Is that bark on the side there? Are you muted? You're muted, brother.
That's because I was using the hairdryer.
Yeah, you were drying it off.
Yeah, the bark. The bark is the stonework, and I'm just doing the dry. Dang it!
What happened?
My dry.
Too much on the dry brush.
Oh yeah.
I've just added too much again. I want to really dry that off, but the best thing, that's a good point though to go on to. The best thing about these things is that if you mess it up, you can just mod podge it and do it all over again.
Yep.
Which is great. I've enjoyed the flexibility of doing builds because you can just go for it, and I think that's why no one should ever really feel a bit nervous about starting a project. Just get stuck in and then fix it up as you go along, kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see that a lot in our in the group, Lucas and Michael. I talk about it a lot, and it still fascinates me where I see people oh, it's not that good, or I'm not quite sure, I'm not that good. I'm like, what are you talking about? You hit upon it earlier, Lucas. If you're happy with the build and you enjoy it, you can't go wrong. That's part of the fun of the craft, is just trying it. And that, for me, that's also, it's frustrating at times, if it doesn't work, but then at the same time, that's how you're going to grow and get better at anything, is you're going to have some whoops-a-doodles and a couple of things that flop on you and fail, but that's part of the game.
That's the learning process, learning the material. Nobody goes into sculpting and is Michelangelo right from the beginning. Even Michelangelo wasn't Michelangelo at the start.
Right.
It's a learning process. You have to learn your material, different techniques that work for you. Understanding how things fit together. But in the end, as long as you're working on something, every piece you'll learn something new.
I like that. As long as you're working on something, work on something. Like
Yep.
try something.
Yeah, I
That's
mean, I must have built, I don't know, 2 dozen treasure chests over my career. And each time I built it a completely different way,
hmm
just to see what it, and definitely I looked back at the first ones I built and was like, wow, these are not that great
Oh yeah. I've got builds
compared to
like
the
that right
newest
now.
ones.
And I haven't been doing that long, but I've got some stuff where I'm like, whoa, I'm like, what were you doing there? But glad that I built it. I have
Yeah,
it. I have my first house that I built out there, and I'm like, it's okay, but it's not as good as the ones that have preceded or preceded
yeah,
it.
yep,
You
absolutely.
reminded me, Lucas, of the other build for the that I would suggest for the dollar store foam core. Yeah, and that's your treasure chest. Made me think about it. You could build treasure chests with it, but also just like crates,
Yep.
just crates to lay on a dock or around stuff. Anything that provides cover is really cool in game because again, giving the players option. One of the cool. I've got a couple of spare pieces like this that I'm thinking about shaping back into because this is the only one of this I have where it's the rock, but
Hmm.
it's got the multiple levels, and this little piece gets used all the time. Like I'm trying to think of like what Richard our DM is grabbing, and he's grabbing things that have layers or
Yeah,
things.
anything that creates elevation, that creates places to
Yeah,
hide.
yeah, the
Uh,
done like any of the cave tiles and stuff like that, like for sure, for sure.
yeah, it adds dimension to the game.
I recently a while ago. So my son wanted a poke. He's into Pokemon, and he wanted to build a Pokemon arena. And I was like, man, I have to build like stairs for people to sit in. And I was just like, I'm gonna build these in such a way to where I can also use them for my games too.
Yeah,
So I got
yeah,
these giant stackers that can serve as an arena, but like you put these things together, and all of a sudden you've got a pretty gnarly like wall section.
yep,
You've got a large hunk of piece of terrain that can be again things that can get dropped and utilized in multiple ways. That's what's so cool about the scatter terrain. It can just be used for many different things.
yep, absolutely, absolutely.
Let's see. So this one, I'm getting a little better on. I feel this is the second kind of stone one that I've been working on here, and it's getting a little, I think a little bit more natural with the carvings and like where I'm scoring it, and it's looking a little better than surprise the first one I did. Right,
Yep, yep,
I get to improve upon it a little bit each time I work on it too.
yep, absolutely.
Pretty cool. So, what is their next big build? Like, what's your next build, the next big project that you're gonna tackle, Lucas?
Probably grabbing some of that honeysuckle branches,
Uh huh.
and I definitely want to build either a log fort, a modular log fort, or some watchtowers with
Ooh.
that natural looking lumber.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so that's definitely the next project.
Cool.
I definitely want to build bigger pieces of rock terrain,
Mm.
following that same method that I used before, but a little bit more uh, in scale. The great thing about that clay, that 8 carton clay,
Mm-hmm.
is I can stick it in a dark, cool place, and it'll last a while. So it's not something that I have to build immediately.
Oh.
But I have enough of it now where I would like to put that to work.
Have you tested the shelf life on that egg carton clay? Like, how long will it last? Do you know?
That's you're talking about in its soft state or
Yeah,
hard state.
in its soft state, like when you're storing it, not
That's
using it.
Yeah, that's what I'm actually testing right now.
Oh.
And actually, what I've been doing is whenever I find any of that packing material, a lot of stuff that gets shipped to you is in that compressed cardboard
Yep.
form.
Yep.
The last two batches that I made, I've broken down the Chick-fil-A drink trays,
Yeah. Yeah.
the drink trays. So
Yeah.
I've broken down a bunch of those, and that I have those set to one side. And I broke down the packing material from another thing that I received. I can't even remember what it is right now. And I have both of those sitting in a cool, dry place. I did that a month ago, and I just went and checked them yesterday, as a matter of fact, and they're both soft. They're still malleable.
Oh,
They're still ready to go.
wow.
So, yeah. So
Wow.
I'm gonna let those sit and just to see how long. And that's the best thing about our craft is experiment. Don't be afraid to experiment.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna let that stuff sit just to see how long it lasts, what's gonna happen to it. I have the projects that I made. I want to see how durable they are, if they're going to degrade at all. But I mean, just looking at them right now, those things are rock solid. I mean, I am surprised how hard and durable they've become.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a big part of, for me, I feel the pressure of time a little bit, and I feel like I don't take enough time to experiment, like you said, to get to know the material, like you are with this egg carton clay that you've
Yeah.
created, to like test the limitations of how long can it sit, to get to know it, so that way, moving forward, because that's time and effort built
Yep.
into making that material. And I think
Right.
that's so cool. Like, I dig that style. Like, I think, that's next level for that you're taking completely recycled materials and finding ways to make and utilize new material that you don't have to go and purchase. I think that's fantastic, Lucas. That's
Yep.
really cool.
Yeah.
I'm
We
digging that.
definitely, yeah, we definitely have enough junk going to our landfills. I might as well use some of it.
Right, right. It makes perfect sense, and then you get to have the fun, the added excitement of building something from that, and
Yeah.
craft. You get to craft it instead of just sending
Yeah.
it to the landfill to
Oh,
to.
which I almost completely forgot about this. This is something I've actually been working with on the side, just little by little, just kind of fooling around. Is all these Amazon boxes now that everybody's at home?
Yeah.
Everybody's got a ton of corrugated now,
Yeah.
and what I've been doing is building quick and easy houses.
Out of
I,
are they all cardboard?
all cardboard, and what I've done is cut them into 2.5 inch strips
Oh,
and
nice.
just yeah, it just kind of scored one side of it, and
How close is one of those to where you are right now?
I could probably
Go
take it,
get it.
go grab it in a few
Go
minutes. I'll
go
be right
dip
back.
it. Go dip out and get it. I want to see what a completely corrugated cardboard house cut up looks like, the final product. That sounds awesome. You're muted. Hair dryer. Hair dryer.
I keep forgetting. I do that in D&D as well whenever we're
Oh,
in roll.
dude, I do it in. I'm in rehearsals for a play that I'm directing for my students at Columbia City College, and I'm like, that's me because I'm muted, listening to them do the work, and then I'm trying to talk, and they're like, you're muted, you're muted, Colin. I'm like, ah. So that's been this whole week, dude. I'm loving that tree. I loved the whole build this last week that you did. The branches are really cool. I didn't put it in the fridge. I was like blown. I was like I was blown on that hot glue to get it to dry.
I think that's because so like cardboard, it's to do with certain materials or insulators and whatnot. So it basically the heat stays for a while.
Yeah.
Um, so I was like throwing it into the uh, whatever you call it, the thing that makes things cold, the fridge, just for the sake of quickness, just to cool down. Like time is a factor as well for me. Like a lot of I would say quite a lot of corners to get something built. So I'm using hot glue a lot as opposed to other types of glue that
Uh-huh.
might be better for the job. And it's just because I need to get it built. I want to get it done because I don't want to be necessarily working on the same piece for days and days. I want to get something done, move on to the next piece, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's easy to do.
And
All right.
yeah.
You got this. What do you got for us here?
So
Go
these
for it,
are a
Lucas.
couple of the ones that I built. And this is following along the lines of what Michael was saying. I wanted to be able to build just kind of scenery homes quickly. And so we've got a ton of these Amazon boxes. And all I did was cut them into 2.5 inch strips and folded an edge of it and then hot glued them all together. Uh, and it's a real quick and easy way to build a bunch of houses. I can make a whole stack of houses using this method in about an hour's of work.
Wow. I love it. And then you can are you going to layer other textures on top of that, or are you just going to paint it up? What do you think you're going to what's the next step with it?
That's where I'm experimenting because I definitely want to make it something easy. I mean, I could definitely go all out and XPS the sides with, windows and texture and all that. But I definitely want to make these as quick and easy as possible. So I've experimented with just painting them, just making a real quick and dirty paint job. But Crooked Staff Terrain just came out with a bunch of printable textures
Hmm.
that are
Printable textures?
printable textures. Uh,
What does that mean? So like stone, wood?
yep, yep. Where he's actually got the whole cottage terrain or the texture printable. So you just print them out and paint and glue them on here. So I am thinking I'm going to go out that route.
Dude.
Yeah.
Like I got to and who was that again? That
Cro-
was
Crooked Staff Terrain.
Crooked Staff Terrain. Okay, I'm gonna have to check Crooked Staff Terrain out. You're getting some love on those houses here in the chat, Lucas. Chris Elst, a fellow crafter and tabletop enthusiast, is digging on the house. He says that looks boss, Lucas. Daniel saying those are fantastic houses. They're good,
Thank you.
fast, and cheap. I
Yeah.
all things that we enjoy as crafters
Yeah.
in the hobby. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, like link to the textures. One more time on the texture thing, please.
Crooked Staff Terrain.
Is that a website or is that a channel?
YouTube channel.
Okay.
I have a look at your houses again as well on the screen.
So this is the smaller one. And you can see right here, this is one piece.
Yep.
And on one edge, I wish I could pull one of these apart. Let's see. That's the thing with hot glue, man. Hot glue and corrugated, once those two get together, it's almost impossible to break them apart. So what I've done is I cut out a whole bunch of strips, folded one edge into like a little column on the inside, and then just glued all the pieces together.
Dude.
And that's all just Amazon shipping material. I mean, something that everybody is getting right now, so might as well put it to use.
Now, are these I'm just looking at the channel here, Lucas, for the Crooked Staff. And this is the question Chris Elst in the chat had. When you say printable, do you mean 3D printable or just paper?
No. Like paper.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
His channel when he first started up was a godsend when I had to worry about building something within a couple of days.
Oh.
So I was just able to print it up and put it together. I wish I could show you.
Yeah, it looks like
I did, but I built a whole Roman temple out of those textures in 2 days.
Dude. See, that's cool. That's definitely some good stuff and good resources to play around with. Again, all stuff that, you know, I didn't know about.
Yeah.
This is this is the goal. This is the whole point of it, y'all. Like, I'm hoping more of the guild, because again, this is really, I'm going on my second month in existence, and truly, Lucas, like, it's been like the focus hasn't primarily been on the live stream until recently. So this has been this is the whole point of it. Like, I want more individuals to be exposed to everyone's ideas, like egg carton clay, the using the divot to score out, like once you've scored the foam, the Amazon houses. Like, this has been an amazing session where I've learned a lot, and I would not have known this had you decided to take a leap of faith and come on and share your process, man. This has been
Absolutely.
great. This has been
Well,
great.
Yeah, and I mean that's the whole focus of the Tabletop Crafters Guild since the founding was make it a place that we can all get together and share ideas, share our crafting thoughts, what materials we're using. That channel's been amazing, and definitely anytime I can help out the community, I love doing it.
Well, this is thank you for coming on, and it's a big deal to come on and take that time and share that knowledge, and that's how it gets stronger.
Absolutely.
I have the link to. Okay, so if you guys are interested in Lucas's pictures, I should be able to link them from the chat. I'm gonna link you guys the Google Drive. If I put that in our in the description of the video, you'll get it. I also there's not a ton of you in here right now. I can also I'll be sure to message you guys because I have all your contact info. I will be sure to send you the Google link to Lucas's photos, because I'm gonna save it because there's just a ton of inspiration in there as well. We'll make sure you guys can check out Lucas's builds because he's documented them so well. But I'll put that up soon. So we're gonna wrap up. Thank you all so much for joining us this week. Michael, as always, thank you so much for joining us. And look at you. Did you finish a build?
Going.
Did you finish a build? You finished a build. Look at that. Oh, look at you. Champion. Oh, my goodness.
It's all right.
It's great. You built that in the course of the stream, brother. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I carved up XPS foam.
Yep.
I haven't done a whole lot.
All good use of time.
All good use of time. And last but not least, Lucas, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much. I'm hoping you'll come back and you'll join us again.
All right, definitely.
Yeah. For those of you, go ahead, brother.
I'm just going to say that maybe next time you can build something with us.
Sure, I'll have to plan something.
Oh yeah. Whatever you wanna come on. Like we've just painted before, right? It's a time to come on and also craft as well. So
yeah, might craft one of these houses.
There you go. All right, y'all. If you like the channel and you like the stream, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. For now, until I play baseball again one day, we'll be here every Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And until then, make sure you craft your passion daily. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.